Okay, but he is going to put on such an act in which he will not show any bit of anger, any bit of annoyance. He will not show his bad akhlaq one bit, because he's trying to impress her, of course. Now, what happens is they keep dating, they say, okay, you know what, I think this is the one. You know, they're very good, I think we're compatible. We have a few things in common. This is enough, I think let's get married. Now what happens is they get married. Now, when it's official, it's on paper, the qubul part is done. Now the act comes off. Now the disguise comes off. Now what happens is a few days later, now the real Salim starts coming up. The real Shugufta starts coming out. Now what happens is, Salim will say, man, had I known Shugufta was like this before, I would have never married her. Shugufta will say, man, who is this new shaitan? Had I known he was like this, I would have never married. But this is what happens. When you try to date and date and date to find the right one, it just doesn't happen. Dating doesn't give you a sense of compatibility with anyone. It just doesn't work. So Islam doesn't tell you to date someone before you marry them, because it just doesn't work. That's one extreme. The other extreme of trying to find a spouse is, this doesn't happen too much nowadays, especially not in America, but in the other countries, it still happens some places. The other extremity is, you don't even look at the person. You don't even look at them. Your father, your mother just comes and says, okay, Shugufta, we found Salim for you. Okay, we like him. Okay, we're happy. You know, that's it, we'll get married. Islam also doesn't teach you to do this, because if you get married like such, and then it's your wedding night, you can get a surprise. And not every surprise is a good surprise, you understand? So you can get a surprise, and that's your fault. Islam didn't tell you to not do your homework. Islam just tells you, don't go and test drive by yourself, because you will never find out the true, authentic self of a person. Islam is the middle path. Islam is a middle path. Do you understand? There is no middle path within Islam. Islam is the middle path. A lot of people get this switched. So, if, like for example, what is a moderate Muslim? Moderate Muslim means, okay, so 5 times salah, you're going to pray 3 salah? You're going to pray 5. If you are a practicing Muslim, you are a Muslim. Islam is the deenan qiyamah. It is that deen Allah Ta'ala made that is moderate. You don't need to look for it within Islam. Islam is moderate within itself. Islam tells us that now, if you want to go and you have interest in someone, you should look at them. It comes in a hadith, once Rasulullah saw a Sahabi hiding behind a tree. And that Sahabi was looking at one of the Sahabiyat. So the Prophet caught him, you know. And the Prophet said, do you have intention to marry her? He said, yes, Ya Rasulullah. So the Prophet said, okay, look carefully. The Prophet didn't say, no, lower your gaze. The Prophet told him, okay, if you have intention to marry that person, look carefully. Once a Sahabi came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I have intention to marry. The Prophet said, Anazarta ilayha? Have you seen the girl you are planning to marry? He said, La. The Prophet said, Fanzur ilayha, go and take a look at her. فَإِنَّهُ أَحْرَىٰ أَن يُؤْدَمَ بَيْنَكُمَا. It is more likely that if you look at her, then inshallah Allah will put love between you when you are married. But within its limits. Each of these can be stretched, but I'm trying to get to one point here. So Islam tells us that now when you are interested in finding a spouse, look, a lot of us, you know, this is like nikah season. A lot of people are getting married. People have sons and daughters who are almost at age of getting married. So remember these things that we're going through, because this is not a class we can have all the time. So this week's khutbah, next week's khutbah, it's applicable to all of us. And remember these points. Islam teaches us that when we go and we are interested in someone, go and ask the relatives of the future spouse. Go and ask the family members, the friends, the cousins, the community. Go ask the people in the masjid. Go ask the people who have seen the true, authentic Salim. Why? Because Salim lived his whole life within these people. He didn't try to impress these people every day. These people know the real Salim. These people will know the real Shugufta. They can tell you, if the person has anger issues, if the person has hot temperament, if the person has bad manners, if the person is not religious, we don't see him in the masjid. They can tell you these things. You cannot find these things out on your own. You cannot go to a Facebook page or a Twitter page and find out about a person. It does not work. You have to ask the people who have seen this person day in and day out. This is the way it works. These are the people who can tell you the true, and when you go to these people, don't just ask them, so how is Salim? They say, oh, mashallah, he's a good person. No, ask them, tell them that we actually have intention to maybe, or to potentially marry off our daughter to this person. So we need you to be very honest and open with us. And anything negative that you will say to us about him is not backbiting. It's not considered backbiting. If a person says, oh, so-and-so person has anger issues, that's not considered backbiting in that instance, because you need to know that. You understand? And if a person hides telling you that, he's actually doing zulm. That's wrong. He has to tell you. The family or the people have to tell you. Right? Otherwise you can never know the true authentic person. Like it comes in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. Once in the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar radiallahu anhu, a man was brought as a witness. Now Islamically, in an Islamic court, if you are to give testimony, you have to meet certain criteria, certain conditions. Not everyone can just go murtaq and go and give witness in an Islamic court. In an Islamic court, if you are called or you want to go give testimony, you have to meet a certain condition. And someone has to attest to your righteousness. So, in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, a man was brought as a shahid, as a witness. So Umar radiallahu anhu said, well, I don't know you. Is there anyone who can attest to your piety, that you're a good person? You're eligible to give the testimony. So he said, yes, ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. So he went and he called someone and he said, ya Umar, he can give testimony that I'm a good person. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu went to this person and said, you know him? Hal araftahu? Do you know this person? He said, yes. Umar radiallahu anhu said, Kayf araftahu? How do you know him? So he said, I know him. Umar radiallahu anhu said, Hal jawartahu al-mujawara? Are you his neighbor that you know him? You know his madkhalahu wa makhraja? You know what time he comes home? You know what time he leaves? Are you his neighbor that you know him that well that you can say he is a good person? Because how a neighbor is towards his neighbor speaks a lot about the person. In Islam, there is a lot of rights for just a neighbor, Muslim or non-Muslim. There's a lot of rights towards the neighbor. So Umar radiallahu anhu said, okay, are you his neighbor that you can say, yes, he's a good person, he fulfills the rights of the neighbor? He said, no, Amir al-Mu'mineen, I'm not his neighbor. Then Umar radiallahu anhu said, Hal safarta ma? Have you traveled with him that you know him? Because you see, when you travel with someone, that is when you truly see the akhlaq of a person. Why? Like they say in Arabic, as-safaru yusfir an akhlaq al-rijal. Safar is called safar. Safar means to travel. Safar literally means to shed light. Like Allah says in the Quran, wujuhun yawma idhin musfira. On the day of judgment, some faces will be musfira. They will be full of nur, full of light. Safar literally means to shed light. Safar is called safar because safar sheds light on the true akhlaq of a person. When you are traveling, like Rasulullah said, as-safaru qita'atun min al-azab. Safar is a type of azab. Nowadays it's different, even nowadays, but when you're traveling, there's a time difference, and there's jet lag, and you're not eating on time, you don't have the luxury of being at home and everything ready and done for you, and it's very hot and dusty, and you haven't had proper sleep. And in Safar, you see how quickly people get annoyed. You see people's anger issues there. You see people's temperament over there. In Safar, you see where people flip. So Umar radiallahu anhu said, Hal safarta ma'a? Have you traveled with him? That you can say, yes, he is a good person. I've seen his akhlaq even while he was traveling, and I can say, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he is a good person. He said, no, Amir al-Mu'mineen, I have not even traveled with him. I'm teaching all this so you know that Islam teaches us to start on the right foot. And what's considered the right foot is a little different to what other people may think of it. People think, okay, if I like I've literally heard people say, if we like the same colors, I guess we're compatible. Or if I like tennis, she likes tennis, I guess we're compatible, we have the same interest. It doesn't work like that, you understand? If you start off on this type of foot, you will end on this type of foot also. It will end there also. I'll give you a quick example. This has happened a few days ago. In Chatham, in Canada, just a few days ago, this came on the news that there was a man and a woman who were married, and both of them, their interest was buying lotto tickets. From the time they got married, from the beginning of their marriage, the husband and wife would both go to different stores and buy lotto tickets very, very frequently in hopes of winning the lotto. And he would go and she would go and they would rotate, but they never won the lotto. So recently, a few days ago, what happened was the man went and he won the lotto. He won $6 million. But you know what he did after that? He dumped his wife. And then it came on news that the wife was saying that I won half of it because had I won the winning ticket, he would have wanted me to give him half. It started with that. That's what happens when you think the person is compatible. It ends there too. Started with lotto ticket, husband got his winning ticket, and it was literally his winning ticket. And that's it. So Umar radiallahu anhu said, okay, have you traveled with him? He said, no. He said, okay, هل عاملته بالدينار والدرهم? Have you done some business dealings with him? Have you done some business dealings with him? Have you dealt with him in monetary transactions? Because this really opens up the akhlaq of a person. People seem all nice and handy-dandy. People seem very, very cool and nice and calm. But as soon as it comes to giving $1 or taking $1, when it comes to paying on time or not, or giving a loan or taking a loan, this is where you really see the true akhlaq of a person. This is where you see it. Umar radiallahu anhu said, okay, have you dealt with him for any transaction? He said, la. Umar radiallahu anhu said, I asked you 3 questions. Did you travel with him? You said no. Are you his neighbor? You said no. Did you have any transaction with him? You said no. Umar radiallahu anhu said, so how do you know him? And then Amir al-Mu'mineen said, لَعَلَّكَ رَأَيْتَهُ فِي الْمَسْجِدِ رَاكِعًا وَسَاجِدًا فَجِئْتَ تُزَكِّيهِ. Umar radiallahu anhu said, oh, okay, so maybe you saw him praying salah in the masjid and you think he's a good person. He said, Naam, yes, ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. And the Prophet said, Umar radiallahu anhu said, idhab, فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَعْرِفُ. Umar said, go, get out of here, you don't know him. And then Umar radiallahu anhu told the witness, he said, إِئْتِ بِمَنْ يَعْرِفُكَ. Go bring someone who really knows you, because that man doesn't know you. Now there's a lot of lessons to learn in this incident, but it's not to be taken at face value. Remember, times have changed. You cannot take this incident and make it a thumb rule now, and whenever you go to look for a spouse for your son or daughter, you ask these questions: have you traveled with him? Have you done transaction with him? Are you his neighbor? No, okay, next person. Have you it will not work like this anymore. But you must do your homework. Do you understand? Don't just look, okay, he's a rich man, he can support my daughter, he can buy her a nice Mustang, okay, he has a good job, he has a nice house, okay, inshallah everything will be good. Remember, with paisa, with money, you can build a house, you cannot sustain a home. This is why so many homes crumble from within. You can build a nice house with a lot of wealth, but you cannot sustain that marriage. That's not what wealth does, right? Now, what does Islam teach us to look for in a spouse? Time's up, inshallah. Next week, inshallah, we will go through this. What to look for in a spouse and what not to look for. The ahadith are very, very explicit. What the Prophet ﷺ tells us, that these things, if you look for them, then they will finish. And this one thing, if you have it, then inshallah it will help you throughout your life. May Allah Ta'ala help our youth. May Allah Ta'ala give for them a good righteous spouse. Ameen. Barakallahu lana wa lakum furqanan azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikril hakim. Astaghfirullah wa lakum wa lisa'il muslimin fastaghfiruhu innahu al-ghafurur rahim. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعص الله ورسوله فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. وارض اللهم عن الخلفاء الراشدين خصوصا على أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن بقية 6 من العشرة المبشرة وعن التابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا معهم بعفوك وجودك وكرمك وإحسانك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم ألف بين قلوب المسلمين. اللهم كن لنا ولا تكن علينا. اللهم كن لنا ولا تكن علينا. اللهم وحد صفوف المسلمين واجمع كلمة المسلمين على الحق يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العلي العظيم يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله تعالى أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. There's a few announcements inshallah. Before I get into that, one announcement is usually when people ask for the imam to perform their nikah, there are two types of people. There are those types of people who have the wedding card. Those are the types of people who ask from before, like they make an appointment and then I go and perform their nikah. That's fine. And then there are those types of people who are the no card nikahs, meaning they've already been dating someone for a long time and then they say, okay, you know, let's just get it done the Islamic way. So then they quickly come to the masjid and they say, oh, Imam, can you perform a nikah? I can't say no to those, because if I say no, then they will spend that night in haram. So I have to, I have done nikahs between both Jummahs, like somebody comes, I grab two people, make them witness quickly, qubul, go. I have done nikahs like that also. But I can't do that each time. So if you are someone who needs to get your nikah done, please try to tell me earlier so that we can have a set time. Understand? And those of you who do need it performed the proper way, then inshallah, you can also make an appointment from before. Don't come last second and say, okay, I need it for next Saturday or next Saturday. Okay. We have a Sunday night class for a conference.